Hello, hello. All right, so let's wait a few more seconds. So hey everyone, welcome to the Streamlit Showcase. This is the fourth quarterly showcase for 2024. And so while we wait for folks to join, let's get to know each other. I'm currently live from California. So where are all of you coming from? Please drop your location in the chat. From Denver, we have Alan. Shreyan from India. Hey Jess. Zoe from Ghana. Ricardo, Italy. Francesco from London. We have from Istanbul, Ahmed. Sarush from Lisbon. Ravi from San Diego. Cool. Andre, Brazil. Michael, Florida. Will from Chicago. Mohammed from Istanbul. Guilherme from Brazil. Stefan from France. Cool. We have from all around the world. Bob. Yeah, hey, Bob from Seattle. San Jose, Venkat. Salt Lake City, Utah. All right, cool. All right, so now that we got the first question, now that we get to know each other a little bit more, what is your inspiration for building Streamlit apps? So a more specific question would be, what problems do you solve with your Streamlit app? So as of late, I'm currently working on, like automating a lot of my content creation process. So I'm creating Streamlit apps to help me do anything from, like transcribing a video, a YouTube video, and then, making, generating like a summary of that, and also generating like timestamps for that as well. And also, like propose video titles, and also to help with blog, content creation. So I'll use it to help me, like generate cover image for the blog, come up with, ideas, brainstorming, and also like, to generally improve writing, like whenever you have like a first draft coming up, and then, just to use it to improve the tonality, and all of that. Yeah. Yeah, would love to hear from all of you. Like, how are you using Streamlit? All right, I guess now that we got warmed up, but please do continue to uh, enter, how you're using Streamlit for your, day to day, or for your job, or for your studies. Yeah, would love to hear all of your use cases. So yeah, I guess we're ready to begin the showcase. Hi everyone, my name is Chinin, Senior Developer Advocate for Streamlit at Snowflake. Many of you may know me as the Data Professor from my YouTube channel. I'm super excited to be your MC today. As always, we do these events every quarter, so you have a chance to hang out with the product and engineering team to learn about Streamlit's latest features and also see some pretty cool apps from the community. So before we get started, our Snowflake legal team asked us to put this disclaimer here since we're talking about product roadmap. Let's take care of some quick housekeeping. We'll have swag drops at the end of the showcase, so stick around to find out how to join. Eligibility rules will be shared with the winners. This is your chance to talk to the product and engineering team. Please ask your questions in the chat. Although we won't have time for a live Q&A, we're ready to answer your questions live as they come in. This live stream is being recorded to watch on YouTube. So we've got a super packed agenda today. Our co-founder Tiago will kick things off with working with the Streamlit execution model. Then we're going to have Streamlit open source engineers who will be sharing what's new on the roadmap, particularly on authentication and Streamlit, expanded error details configuration, advanced theming and data frame improvements. And then we're going to have Diana, our senior product manager, who will be talking about what we have in store for Streamlit Community Cloud. And then finally, we're going to dive into two app deep dives. We have Gene, who will be talking about his experiences building a microSaaS and his Resume application. Then we're going to have Romain Dansid, CEO and founder of Magic Learning, who will be talking about the GenAI powered learning management system for personalized learning. So without further ado, please welcome Tiago, co-founder of Streamlit.
Thank you, Shannon. My name is Tiago. I'm a co-founder of Streamlit and director of product here at Snowflake. I'm going to talk about working with the Streamlit execution model, and you'll see why. So first, I want to go through a quick recap. So last showcase, I talked about my next few slides in more detail, but I want to recap anyways because it's important. I'm going to go super quickly though because this is old content. I don't want to spend too much time on it. So, all right, what is Streamlit? It's a Python library for building data apps. And here's the important part. We want it to be blazing fast, not just Streamlit itself and your app, but the act of coding. You should feel like the development speed is just amazing. We want to keep you in the zone, basically. And the way we do this is 3 different ways to keep you in that zone of coding. So one way is we make development fast by making interactivity trivial. So what does that mean? So with one line of code, you get a slider on the screen. You don't have to think about callbacks and other functions and whatever. It's just one line. We also let you bypass the tech stack. So you just don't think about HTML, JavaScript, routes, serialization. Instead, you just tell Streamlit what you want and it gets done. So the third way is we try to foster a tight iteration loop where you open your editor, type, and save, view the results, get feedback from your users, type, save, try it out, get feedback, and just keep doing that until your app becomes incredibly amazing, much more than if you had planned it all ahead of time. All right, that's the basics of it. Just remember, the whole goal of it is to keep you in the zone. It's kind of like how scripting works and also a REPL, like the Python console. Like they're so simple. You just type a statement, move on to the next, top to bottom. We were inspired by that. So our idea here is if you know how to script, you know how to Streamlit. And so what does that mean? Let's say you have a script like this. it's printing hello. It has an input, and then it prints the name of the person that was input in there. Well, in Streamlit, if you're going to do this, it's basically that. It's the same thing. You just change the prints to writes and the inputs to text inputs, and you have an app. And that is really neat. It just feels right? But then you think about it for a sec, and you realize there's something else going on here. This is not as simple as it seems. There's a magic behind the scenes. And what unlocks this is the Streamlit execution model. So let me talk about that. So first, we'll look at the script again and see what's actually happening. So when you run python myscript.py, this prints, you get to the first line that says print hello. This prints hello to the screen. Second line, doing the input, and it says the prompt for the input on the screen, enter your name. And what happens now is, the Python interpreter just stops and just waits for you to type something. And then your user goes and types Alice. And now they press enter, and the interpreter moves on to the if name. The name exists, that's great. So it goes inside and it prints, nice to meet you, Alice. So at this point, the program is done and it exits. All right, so now you're in your console. So what is it like with Streamlit? So with Streamlit, it will start the same. So you call Streamlit run, Streamlit app.py. This Streamlit will get to the first line of code, st write hello, and draws hellos on the screen, hello on the screen. Then it will get to the text input. And at this point, it draws a beautiful text input widget on the screen. And it doesn't stop there like the console did, like the Python example did. In this case, in Streamlit, it will move on to the if name. The name is not there, and it will just skip that write, and it will stop executing your script, but the Streamlit is still running. It's just waiting for user input. So now your user can go and type their name, Alice. When they press enter, Streamlit will rerun your script from top to bottom. So we'll get to the st write and write. We'll see that it has to write hello on the screen, but it won't write. It knows that it's there. It will just not touch it. Same thing with the text input. It's there. It won't touch it. But now it gets the if there is something in there. It goes to the st write. It sees that it's not on the screen, so it will draw that. So now your app is done. So that was the difference. Streamlit, every time you interact with the widget, it runs from top to bottom your script. That's the execution model. So isn't this how every framework works? No, this is very much not. There's a mode for the nerds in the audience of UIs called immediate mode UI, where this is very similar to that. Streamlit mixes that with this other thing called retained mode. Most UIs are retained mode. Let me show some example of what that means. So here's an example of how a framework could work. It's the general shape of many frameworks, where you basically have to have at the bottom of your script a loop that you start somehow with a function. And what this does, an internal loop, you don't actually see it running. But inside of the function, you draw something on the screen, your text input, you put some, in this case, some message in there. But the interesting thing is the input has a callback. And what this does is now, once this runs, the framework just waits for input. Once you type an input, the callback gets called. We update the message on the screen, and that is it. Now we're waiting again. The only thing that ran was this, not this code. And that is different from Streamlit. It didn't run from top to bottom. Similarly, you could have a slightly more interesting framework that has the loop again with a function, but also a model. And this kind is kind of more like React, where if you know React, where this function will run, it will output what the app should look like. It has a callback for the widgets. Now we're waiting for user interaction. And once the user interacts, the callback is called. But instead of drawing to the screen here, you just update the model. And what this does is the framework internally knows that after each callback and updating the model, it should rerun this and will redraw the screen. Similar to Streamlit a little bit because it reruns this whole thing top to bottom. But the difference is you can put heavy computations outside of that. So it doesn't. There's no blocking in between. So that's great. Like, it gives you a lot of control. It's great for many things. But for data apps, we think being in the zone and being able to move top to bottom is much more important. Here, when you're creating an app like this, you have to jump to the top, create a model, modify something there, create a function, modify it, create another function here, sometimes a class. There's a lot of jumping around. You're not in that flow. So that's the trade-off for us. And so if you look at these, yes, Streamlit looks much simpler in these examples, but there is a catch. So let's talk about that. So Streamlit apps mix logic and display. This is really important. So this gives you forward momentum, which is what we're after. But if your logic is slow, this is going to slow down the display of your app. And slow could mean hogging the CPU for too long, or just waiting for I/O, doing a SQL statement and just waiting. So that can slow down the display of your app. And for example, let's say you have a dashboard where you're trying to show 3 different things. Maybe Streamlit starts loading your app. It shows the active user chip, but then it needs to show the chart. So it needs to get the data. Maybe you're doing a SQL statement there to fetch that data. Now it loads the data, and then same thing with the next one, same thing with the next one. And this is just annoying. Your app is loading in a staggered way. Can you improve that? I'll show you some tricks for that. The other thing is if your logic hogs the CPU for too long, then you can't run as many users concurrently. And this is it's a thing that impacts every framework, but really, like, I want to show you some primitives and some things that you can do to improve that as well. All right, so what can you do? You can use SD cache, cache data and cache resource, if you're rerunning the same logic over and over. So you should know what this looks like at this point. You can use SD fragment. It's a new thing they released, 6 months ago, 9 months, to rerun only a subset of your code. So this is great when you have an app that's made of self-contained parts. If you move a slider in one part and you want just that part to update and nothing else in the app to rerun, you can do that. You just declare that part inside of a fragment. And then when you move a slider, change the date in this example, you will update the chart. This will rerun, but this will not rerun. Anything outside of the fragment will not rerun. That is great. If you're making a lot of slow HTTP requests, SQL statements, and so on, you can run them in parallel. Use async IO, use threading. And this sounds scary, but it's not. So here's an example. You can just create a thread pool executor, put as many SQL statements as you want in there, and run them at the same time, basically. And whenever they're done, you'll get all the data together. So instead of, let's say, every one of these takes a second, instead of the whole app taking 3 seconds because you're loading them in series, the app takes 1 second to load them because they load in parallel. And that's great. If you're doing a lot of heavy computations that are dataframe specific, move them off process with things like SQL, but also Snowpark, Snowflake's wrapper around Spark, which is really amazing. Spark itself. So here's an example with Snowpark. So let's say you're doing a heavy filtering computation. Don't do it on a Pandas data frame. Do it on a Snowpark data frame. This is going to happen in a separate server, and then you collect the information and get it back here. And now you didn't have to hog the CPU for that. Or if you're doing something very heavy that is CPU bound, so heavy CPU computations, move it off to a different process. You can use multiprocessing, Ray, other things like that. Here's multiprocessing. You create an executor, and you submit your computation there, and you get the result. This computation is going to run on a separate process, not hogging your CPU. You can have a lot of concurrent users this way. All right, this was really fast, but if you do any of these things in your app, the limit is Python. It's something we've noticed in load tests I've done. So here's an example. Here's a test that we're trying to see up to 50 concurrent users in Streamlit with multiple different computations happening. In this case, 10 million multiplications. There's a lot going on here. I'm not going to go into detail, but what you need to know is that if you compare Streamlit versus no Streamlit, if you're just running pure Python threading in a normal script, Streamlit is about the same throughout, or a little faster even, no matter from 0 to 50 users. If you, instead of using threading, using multiprocess, and in Streamlit you're doing multiple processes in the way I've shown before, then Streamlit is a little slower, but sometimes equally fast. we have other tests that also show that it's exactly the same in those tests. But basically, the idea is Streamlit is as fast, more or less, as Python, even in a multi-threading case, a multi-process case. So the limit is Python. You just need to learn those lines that I showed today, and life will be better. But we're always looking for ways to improve Streamlit. So we do want to come up with primitives to make those 3 or 4 lines of code that you have to type much simpler. If you have ideas, let us know. We're always thinking about it too. So watch this space as well. All right, now switching gears. Every quarter, I like to talk about how Streamlit is doing. I want to show some numbers. And this is one of my favorite parts of the presentation. I'm always astonished by these numbers. And so this time is no different. And by the way, remember, these numbers only exist because of the people who keep telemetry on. So I really appreciate you doing that. And that means that we're also not tracking everybody here. This is only the ones who did keep telemetry on. So with that, we at this point have 380,000 monthly active developers. That's a growth of 2x year over year. Again, every year we're doing this. It's amazing. Monthly app views, 11 million app views every month. That's 2.2x year over year. 680,000 Streamlit Cloud apps, 2.2x year over year as well. I really appreciate this, and because it's because of all of you in the community who continue making Streamlit more awesome. You're writing posts, you're using Streamlit, you're making videos, giving us feedback. Please continue doing that. And with that, I want to pass it on to Karen, who's going to talk about authentication in Streamlit. Thanks.
Hey, hello everybody. My name is Karen Javatan, and I'm software engineer at Streamlit open source team at Snowflake. Today, I'm going to show you something we have been working on the past few months, authentication for Streamlit apps. This is very popular request from the community to be able to access user identity information. We are very happy to introduce 2 new primitives in Streamlit, st-login and st-logout, that work with any identity provider that supports the OpenID Connect protocol, or IDC. OIDC built on top of OAuth 2.0, and it designed specifically for user identity information. So it could work with any identity provider that supports OIDC, like Google. So let's see. This feature will be available in 1.42 release, and the information will be available in experimental user, and it looks this way. The only things you need to specify in your secrets is client ID, client secret, and server metadata URL of your app identity application. And if needed, you can override client keywords, for example, for different prompt during the auth flow, or to specify scopes. So yeah, let's see the demo. So yeah, here I have a couple buttons, and I have different auth providers specified in my secrets toml. The syntax looks like this. You have auth section, and then specific parameters for each provider, Google, auth 0, whatever. And then you can, let's say, log in with Google. And all this data will be available in XT experimental user. You can use another identity provider like auth 0, and using that, again, you can log in via Google, let's say. And then the response is pretty much looks like the same, but the issuer of this identity information now will be auth 0. Or if you use Okta, let me show you. You can also configure OIDC app in your Okta, and then you can log in via Okta. Oh, I need to. Now we have information from Okta. And let's say if you want to do it via Microsoft Entra, you can configure your app in Azure, and it will also work. Yeah, and for logout, you can use st.logout, and it will clear the information from ST experimental user. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed this feature.
Thanks, Karen. Next up, we have Laura on the expanded area details config.
Hi, I'm Laura Wilby, and I'm a software engineer at Snowflake working on Streamlit. And today I'm going to show you this feature for customizing error details that I worked on this last quarter. So first, just a little bit about me. I'm from Vancouver, British Columbia in Canada, and I completed my bachelor's degree in computer science and mathematics at Simon Fraser University there. And after that, I worked at a few different companies as a software engineer. My favorite place was BC Cancer Agency. And in 2021, I joined Streamlit, and I've worked on a few different teams associated with Streamlit, Community Cloud, and then the Streamlit and Snowflake integration. And now I'm working on the open source library. And as part of this, I recently moved to Berlin, so I'm working at the Snowflake office in Berlin. And here's a few pictures, like my cat, George. He's at the airport moving to Berlin, and here's my partner, Patrick. Yeah, so just to give you a little bit of information about this error details config. So we wanted to just give users a little bit more control over the messages that that are seen in the apps. So previously, you could only show like full error details or hide the message, but we've added 2 new options so that you can have more of like a production mode where you hide all of the error details from your users, or you can have like a dev mode where you can see everything for debugging. So yeah, just to show you this a little bit in an app. Right now, I have the config set to full, and this is the same as the previous option, true. And don't worry if you have some apps that are using this; they'll continue to work. But we are deprecating these options, and we'd like everyone to switch over to using the new options. So false corresponds to stack trace. Yeah, so you can see here it shows all the information, and then if I switch it to stack trace, then the message is hidden, and it's just this generic error message, but you can still see the stack trace and the type of the error. And with this is one of the new options, type. So this hides a stack trace and shows you a generic error message, and then also the type of the error. And then another new option is none, and this hides everything. So this is good for like a production environment where you don't want your users seeing details of what's gone wrong with the app. It just shows this generic error message. Yeah, so I hope this gives you some more options for customizing your apps and you enjoy using this feature. Thank you.
Thanks, Laura. Presenting next, we have Lucas on advanced theming and data frame improvements.
Hello, I'm Lucas from the engineering team at Streamlit, and I'm going to show you two new things we are working on. On the one hand, we have advanced theming, and we have also been working on a lot of small improvements around Dataframe. And I have lots of demos prepared to kind of show you what we will be shipping soon, what we might also have already implemented. And oh no, that's the wrong way. Okay, let's. So I have to click here. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. One more slide. Hello, I'm Lucas from the engineering team at Streamlit, and today I'm showing you two new areas where we are working on. The one is advanced theming. The other one is data frame improvements. And I have prepared a lot of demos to show what we are currently working on and what we will be shipped in the next version or in the next couple of weeks. Sorry. I have to click here. Okay. Sorry. One more time. Hello, I'm Lucas from the engineering team at Streamlit, and today I will show you two big projects we are working on. The one is advanced theming. The other one is data frame improvements, where we will improve our data frame components with a couple of new interactive components. And I have prepared a couple of demos I will show, and we'll start with advanced theming. So advanced theming will allow you to theme your app or adapt it to your company look in a lot more ways than we currently provide. So we will add new theming options that allow you to change the font, allow you to change link, border color, the rounding of your elements, or even have different kind of background and text colors for your sidebar and your main theme. And all of that will be available as part of the config terminal. So you can configure that in the theming section the same way you're currently configuring the more limited set of theming options we have. So let's get into a demo here. Though that's a normal Streamlit look and feel with a lot of elements here. And I have implemented this kind of interactive theme editor here, so that's showing a lot of the options which we want to ship with Streamlit soon. And I have already pre-configured a few things here, and if I click apply, it will update the app and kind of look differently. So the first thing you can see here is we have like a different kind of a light theme for the sidebar, a dark theme for the main screen, and you can configure a lot more aspects with that. So for example, the fonts will be configurable. You can configure how all your elements are rounded. So let's go to between 0 and 1, and 1 in that case is everything is let me change the font here to something more like that. So you will see all the elements have a lot more rounding here, and we can also change what's new, also like the link color, the border color of elements. Let's get here something green as well, and yeah, as I mentioned, we can kind of design the sidebar as well with new options. And all of that will most likely be shipped with 1.43. We are still kind of finalizing the final set of options we want to ship in that version. But yeah, that's like a quick look into the new advanced theming feature. So the next is data frame improvements. So like data is at the core of most Streamlit apps. And we have been kind of tweaking and improving the data frame in a lot of small but significant ways. So first off, we added new interactive features, so that will be for free for all data frames. You can drag and drop your columns, you can pin columns via UI, or your user can do that. You can hide and show columns and do more interactive things on your data frame. The second part here is the new version will allow you to configure the row height. So here's a demo for that. You can provide a row height with the SC data frame command, which is applied to all the columns. And one special part here is that, like, if there's text in a column, it will be automatically wrapped to fit into this height. Another feature we are working on is lazy loading. This allows you to handle unlimited or data sets of unlimited size. And we have a demo here, which let's first kind of run it without lazy loading. And in that case, it's loading a huge data frame, and it doesn't even fit into our default message size limit of 200 megabyte. Of course, you can kind of adapt that, but it's already kind of a quite big data frame that will slow down your app if you always want to kind of send it to the front end. So what we have been implementing is lazy loading, which is a lot quicker, and it basically only loads a certain chunk of data that the user is currently viewing it. And when I scroll here, it will get another chunk at the, like this data frame is a couple of millions rows, and it's no problem to handle that. So now it's kind of, it has loaded the fifth million here rows. And we are also figuring out still the details, so you will be able to kind of use that out of the box with something like a Snowflake table, but we also want to provide ways that you can use this lazy loading with like just a huge pandas data frame. That's kind of lazy loading. The next one is your JSON column. We want to make it provide a better way how JSON data is rendered within a cell. And we might do that via a new column type called JSON column. And if you kind of configure that, you get this nice JSON rendering that you also know from SDJSON. We are also thinking about like to auto apply it if we detect that a text column is containing JSON. So you get that out of the box if there is a JSON value in your data frame cell. Here, predefined formats that allows you to have some to programmatically define some of the most common formatting options. Like you have a column with numbers and you want to format it as dollar or euro, or maybe in a scientific a number format. So that's something we want to simplify by providing some predefined formats. But also in this demo, we have been exploring to allow that the user can change this format via the UI as well. So I can change it to euro here as well. Same as for is the case for some other column types. For example, here we also have a datetime column, and I can change it to kind of a more humanized form, or the local kind of that's taking the browser local and rendering in a more local date format. And the last feature on that part I'm showing is a multi-select column. That's kind of we have an implementation or prototype for that for a longer time. It might not be shipped next quarter, but probably soonish. So we have already a select box column, but we don't have an equivalent for multi-select for our data editor. And what this allows is to select multiple options like tags, or in this case, it also allows you to kind of have a free text input here as well. So you can, it might be very useful for some kind of labeling use cases. All right, that's it for our data frame improvements. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Lucas. Next up, we have Diana, who will be enlightening us about the recent advancements in Streamlit Community Cloud.
Thank you to the open source team for all of those awesome demos. I'm Diana. I'm the Streamlit Community Cloud product manager, and I just wanted to share a few new delightful features that the team recently released. So the 3 features we wanted to show you are: 1, how to deploy apps with authentication on cloud. 2 is an easy one-click way to upgrade the Python version of your cloud apps. And 3 is preview cards when you share your profile page or any organization profile page or person's profile page that you think is inspirational. So starting with how to deploy apps with authentication on cloud, it's a really easy process. When you are deploying an app on cloud, go to advanced settings and add your secrets. I'll even replay that because it was so fast. And when you deploy your app, this process is business as usual. Let's fast forward to when the app loads, ta-da! And then upon clicking on Google Login, you can authorize through Google, and ta-da, you see all that magic. And so this is available now on cloud. The second feature is, let's say that you have an existing cloud app, but you want to upgrade the Python version. So let's do that. Right now, this is an app that is currently on 3.12, but let's say that it was on 3.11 and you want to upgrade it. You can do that easily here. Just for the purposes, I will downgrade this app to 3.10 so that you can see that the app is now on your desired version. And the third feature we wanted to show you is preview cards when you share a profile page. So in case you're not familiar with profile pages yet, any cloud user has a profile page that you can customize on this tab that's public. And now when you share a profile page, my own in this instance, you can see this preview card. And when you share this, whether they're the URL or popular third parties, also on Meta, Discord, and so forth, this preview card will be surfaced to the viewer. And so I did a test earlier on Streamlit forums, and you can see that the preview card nicely renders. So go ahead and check out the sharing feature and share your profile page with all of your Streamlit apps right now, and let us know if you have any feedback. You can also share other people's or organizations' roadmaps. So for instance, a lot of you reference Streamlit's roadmap. And if you want to see all of Streamlit organizations' public apps, here you can see them by viewing popularity in one central place. And let's say that you're even Googling a certain Streamlit app and you come across a popular app. This is the Savash's Sophisticated Palette app, and Savash is the Streamlit creator, as many of you may know. And let's say, wow, this is such a cool app. Let's see what other apps Savash has that I can learn from and get inspiration from. And so this is Savash's profile. So those are just a few updates that we would love your feedback on. And as we go forward this year, one big user research question we'd appreciate guidance on from you is, how do you currently search for Streamlit apps and their metadata for your immediate use cases? Whether those use cases are at work or for hobbies, what's your current workflow? Do you start with GitHub, or do you start with Googling or Streamlit's Explore page? The purpose of this thought exercise is because we know that there's a huge opportunity to make app discovery 10x more magical and efficient for you all. And so we wanted to start from the ground up with asking you. So Shannon will talk about a survey that you can fill out towards the end. So please check mark the user research session question, and we can certainly reach out to you if you're interested in a one-on-one session about this topic of discovering apps. So that wraps up the Streamlit product updates. And now let's transition to the Streamlit creators demo, starting with Jane.
Thanks, Diana. Super excited about these recent updates to the Streamlit Community Cloud. Before proceeding to our next speaker from the Streamlit community, perhaps a little context. Building production-ready apps or monetizing apps as a SaaS or software as a service has been a popular and recurring topic. In this showcase, we have been blessed with two exemplary examples. First up, we have Gene Milpide, head of engineering by day and indie hacker by night. Gene will be showing us how he built his entire mini SaaS app using Streamlit.
Hi, so I'm Jean Milpied, head of engineering and data scientist, and I'm here to present how I built microSaaS with Streamlit. And the name of this microSaaS is Resume. It's a CV booster, a booster for your resume. So let me introduce to the architecture and how I use Streamlit to do it. So why I'm here today? So thanks Streamlit for the invitation, but I'm here because I think I made a good job in using Streamlit in being a microSaaS, and I shared on the blog, on Streamlit blog, how I did it and what's the technical stack about it, and it got a lot of traction, attraction, and success. So I think my message here is share on the Streamlit blog wherever you do, and it's great and it's fantastic as a community engage into it. So what's Resume? So Resume stands for resume, and it's a resume booster built by data HR experts for data experts. And it's really a tool where you load your resume and it's going to give you feedback specific for data scientists, data engineers, and data analysts. The talk here is not about Resume at all. It's about how I used Streamlit and as a data scientist and as a developer to build a microSaaS rocking on the web. So Resume is technically speaking, it's a PDF parser. So I got some data ontology, data expertise, and match scores. And in the stack, we get Python, Streamlit, and some external API services with Stripe and MongoDB for the database. So let me explain how I did it and how you could do it the same. So Resume has got some specific tractions, been on the web and deployed for 5 months now. It's about, in the code, 340 commits, and about 520 monthly visitors, and more than 1,000 people have used it and logged on it, and 2,000 resumes have been boosted with it. So it's solid, and Streamlit can be very solid and is very solid into production products on the web. So that's the message here. So what's a microSaaS? So it's a SaaS, but I call it micro because you can keep it very tiny and manageable by one sole engineer and one sole developer and myself. And let's say that after building it, I don't need more than 1 hour a week to keep it updated, no crash, nothing else. And it's very tiny and it's around just one feature. And the feature is to boost a CV. So let me explain what's the architecture of it? So a user is going to be connecting on a SaaS web app, and the SaaS web app will be roughly made about 3 components: database, some code, the backend, front end being exposed on the web app, and what you want, if you want to make money from it, is a payment subscription service. So that a user will have unique features depending of where it's a free user, a paid user, or whatever feature is paid for through the web app. And this is possible with Streamlit. So there is Streamlit everywhere in my app, in the Rhythm app. There is Streamlit in the user connections. There's Streamlit in the web app front end, of course, and there's Streamlit in the backend code too. So let's jump into some specific part of the architecture and how it's been built. So first, I need navigation in a microSaaS. You will be typically, when you go on a website, there will be a home page, a login sign up page, and then there are some feature page. For Rhythm, there is a boost your resume page, a match score with job ads page, and a description of who the service is page. And so there I got multi-page. And the multi-page Streamlit function is perfect for it. So in the code with Python, I got a navigation, Streamlit navigation that goes from one page to another. And this is really my main code. And then for each page, there will be specific code for it. So that's the multi-page Streamlit app. Then each individual page is a page folder with specific code, and it has its own front end and its own back end. And for example, if I go on the home.py page, there will be an home page where you can have actions and front-end presentation of what Rhythm is doing, and you can have actions where you can test your resume. This is a multi-page Streamlit app. Then there is the login sign-up logic. What you want here is you want your user to be able to create an account. So you're going to save somewhere, and it's what a database is made for. You got to save somewhere that says the user login, track if the user is connected, and you will be using Streamlit session states, and track if the user already exists, and know if the user is a free user or a paid user, because depending if it's free or paid, you're going to update or change the acceptable and available features that the user can do with your app. And here I'm using Streamlit to manage this and connect it with an API for the user database. So how it's going to work, we're going to feed a database, read the database, and keep in the Streamlit cache with the session state if the user is connected and what are the features of the users. How it shows like there is a welcome to Rhythm page where you can choose between login and sign up. I'll show it in a demo. Put your username, it checks the valid email, you put your password, and you log in. That's the login sign up. It's very important for your microSaaS. Without it, you cannot go into specification and preferential users. And you can get then information once the user is connected, saying I'm connected, I've done 45 analysis, I got 5 free credits, and I have not paid credits. And this is information from the user database that you're going to save on your cache and show to the user page. And so you can be able to then move to another page. How it's coded, you got functions like authenticate users that's going to run into the database. And these functions are called after you call the button and check if the user is authenticated. And then you're going to save in the session state all the information of that. Is it logged in? What's the usernames, user ID, user accounts, free, paid, and update if that's paid the user. So that's very important. And that's pretty simple to do it with Streamlit, even if it's not something usually people do with Streamlit. Then there is a payment logic. So you've got logged users, you may want them to pay. That's the same. It's going to use the front end to pay. What I'm using here is I'm sending an external button. So I've created a custom button to drive the user to a payment link. And this payment link is going to be a Stripe link. So the user is going to pay, and then it's going to be saved on the database that the user has paid. And when the user is going to log in, it's going to check that the user has paid, and it's going to give him paid credits onto the app. That's roughly how it's running. What's the payment logic? Free or paid users going to be different attributes. And for paid users, the code, the backend code is going to be different. So if as paid equals true, there will be different features highlighted in the front end, in the app, and so the users may have different actions on it. For example, here it's saying that it's not a paid user, so you are using the free experience. It's saying you get 60% of the features available, and then it can drive you to a call to action button saying you may want to buy credits to use the application with the unlocked rest of 40% of features. So that's it. It's done. You get a microSaaS. I'm not talking about the features, but really having a logging, a payment, a database going to be open user doors to building your own web app and manage it yourself. So usually when I do this, present it, I get some comments on frequent applications. So is it possible? I'm going to give you some of it. Is it possible to have a multi-page navigation link? Yes, it's possible. Get to trick somehow, but it's really possible to go, and I'll show you, to go from one page to another through buttons within the page, within Streamlit. Is it possible to have analytics on your page? Yes. You use st.components and you put some custom JavaScript code and you can have analytics. I've got analytics on all the resume pages. How can you do the hosting, the web deployment? It's free on the Streamlit cloud, but it has some specific limitations. You may don't want to deploy, but you can also deploy on your own server. I'm using other solutions for deployment. But the Streamlit free cloud is really good for testing and testing your MVP. Can you email customers? Yes, there are plenty of API solutions for free limited emailing, and I'm using one of them. And so it's possible to have a very pro aspect solution sending emails and resume sending emails to users today. There are messages saying that the UX is not pro. Well, we can keep it simple. I'm using only Markdown, and it's not so ugly. And for an MVP, it doesn't prevent customers if you get values to show them and to give them. This is not the UX that's going to be a problem. Is it expensive? It's not. Today, all the deployments, it cost me $7 a month, and it's really very, very cheap. The next question I usually have is that, yeah, it's not ready to have 1,000 users connecting at the same time. That's possibly true. I've not made any stress test on the number of users, but the probability you have it in when you're deploying your first solution is pretty low. So when you want to test an idea and see if you get some traction on customers, maybe you will have 2 customers at the same time, but 1,000 customers at the same time, it's a pretty chance. If you get it, that's a good problem to have, and maybe you will move to other technical solutions. The next question is why I'm using Streamlit. Because I'm a Python addict. I know not only, but mostly this language. It's easy, there's a very strong community, and it's evolving all the time, so I can get custom components, new components, and I'm using a very active solution. That's why I'm using it. And Resume is one of the examples. I'm using it for a lot of other solutions I'm deploying. Does it support multi-language? Yes. Resume is today in French and English. So I'd show you in the demo that you can move from one language to another. It's very simple code to do it. So that's it. I propose I go for the demo. So let's show me the demo here. So I'm on the resume page. This is a resume home page. So it's deployed on render. Here is the resume page. So we get an home page, a login sign up page. So I'm going to choose to be in English. So you see everything is going to move to English. And this is really the home page. Resume, no response to the job applications. So I got the login page. So I'm going to log in. Going to put my name and put my password. It's running, and oh, sorry. login successful. I'm going to the login page saying I'm logged. I get done analysis and I can move. And this is links to other page. So I don't have to click here. I can directly click here to go to boost my resume. So it's going to bring me to the boost page. And so I'm on the boost page. I can start boosting my resume. I can browse files and boost my resume. I'm going to show you. And here I'm signing an outside link to a payment application. So let's browse my file. I'm going to use my CV. Oh, just loading my CV, I'm saying boost my resume, running the in progress solution and giving me my results. So it's telling me I got only 60% of features and it gave me the results and some information about my CV. And I can go, just wanted to show you, I'm going to an external link and it's sending me to a Stripe payment. So the price is pretty low. It's €5 to get all the credits, but I can make the payments and it's going to bring me pro credits. I can move to other pages where I can have, as I'm a paid user, I used to pay my service. I can get a match score on my CV and saying that I'm looking for a data scientist role in startup. It's not a really job. And technology. And it's gonna, it's not really a data job. Yeah. If you put a match score, a real job description, it's gonna give you the information. And I can have here the who we are solution, and I've got it a contact form that I'm using Streamlit too, so I can receive emails from the users from the website. And directly here, I can show you that you can have internal links. So if I say I want to go to the login, it's going to bring me to the login from here. So this is possible with Streamlit. So really, this is what I wanted to show tonight. So this being said, I wanted to tell you that you can definitely have a micro web app, microSaaS, built with Streamlit frontend and Python backend in a very simple way and very simple, easy solution. And you can only focus on the quality of your features and then looking forward to get customers. Any question, you can contact me on the Streamlit blog solution. So thanks very much for your attention.
Thanks, Gene. Finally, we have Romain Danset, CEO and founder of Magic Learning, to give a demo on how he built an entire front end and back end of this comprehensive educational learning management system application using Streamlit.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Chanine, for the introduction. I am Romain Danset. I am the founder of Magic Learning. Magic Learning is the first learning management system that can transform unique course and tailor it to students, for each student, based on their facilities, difficulties, interest, ambition, and distributable. So we are trying to respond to a lot of problems in education. First, there is a 1 in 10 learner dropout school. There is 8% of students dis-learner and no course adaptation for them. There is a big lack of fun and practical aspect in a course. And for finish, a teacher got a very big pedagogical challenge due to the diversity of level in class. So for respond to all of this problem, we build Magic Learning. Magic Learning is the first learning management system that can transform course and individualize it for each learner based on their profile, thanks to GenAI. So in opposition to classic adaptive learning, who transform course, who don't transform course, who where you get a learning path based on the student typology. Here we make a complete transformation for each student, and the teacher only need to drop his course and the AI take care of the rest. So I will show you a part of Magic Learning app. So for our beta, we are built totally on Streamlit. So I will show you two parts. I will show you first the teacher part. So imagine I connect as a teacher. I can see all my classes. I can see also my course session. So I will I will create a course session here for the example. I will take a random file. I will create a session name resistance, material resistance. Okay, and I click on create my session, and that's all for the teacher. Now the AI will read the course, extract the text, extract important image, and transform the course for each student based on their profile. And now we're going to the student part. So imagine now I log as a student. So here I got all my future course to come, and I will see my course, my course session. So here I got two versions. I got the original file dropped by the teacher, and I also got a version based on my profile where you can see all definition as what was transformed based on my interest. You also got a chatbot where you can ask him to simplify the subject, go more deeper, and explain in another way. You also got after MCQ generated by AI, where when you respond, you get a note and everything. And after that, you got a feedback auto-generated by the AI for indicate in what concept I need to work again. So for my course session as a student that's finished, I can also, if I want, create a QCM, MCQ, sorry, in course session for train myself. I can also, if I want, change my personal information. I can change what concept, the level of each concept of my materials. That's all for the student. And for finish, I will show you what see a teacher after his course. So imagine I'm a teacher. I just make my course session. After that, all students respond to the MCQ or the evaluation. I will get all of my results and report auto-generated by AI. The report will show me what concept was blocking for students. And I got a lot of other features, but I can show you everything in 10 minutes. So for finish, I will show you an extract of my code. Here. Okay. So I can't show you everything because there is a lot of code, as you can imagine. But for explain the global context, we got two big directory with all my page. So each page is a classic function, and I got all my page here. And I got two ports. So I got the student port where you got a navigation, a complete navigation system based on their page, and also you got the teacher port where you can see there is his page. All is dynamic based on what I got in the database for each of them. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Janine. Thank you, Streamlit. And that's all for Magic Learning. Have a great day.
Thanks, Romain, for sharing how you built this LMS app end-to-end using Streamlit. That's all the time we have left today. Let's wrap up with a few quick reminders before our Slack drop. Streamlit wouldn't be what it is today without such an active community. There are several ways to get involved. Specifically, if you haven't already, join and share your creations in the Streamlit forum. Your app could be featured in the next showcase. Meet up with us in person at live events around the world. We're looking for ambassadors who can help us organize in their area. Or if you're super knowledgeable about Streamlit and want to help us shape its future, apply to become a creator. And now, the moment has arrived for your chance to win swag. Please share your feedback in this survey, providing the QR code for you to scan, or you could hit on the link or type it in. 3 random winners will receive swag. There are some eligibility rules from our legal team. To enter, please share your email in the survey. And that's a wrap. Thank you all for coming today, and very big thank you to our community members for sharing today. I know I speak for the product and engineering team as well by saying thank you for being such an active and generous community. We hope to see you in the forum and at the next showcase. So until next time, happy Streamlitting.